Hi, these comments are for MK. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. Thank you for your email. I received your writing and speaking practice. This is my free TOEFL speaking and writing evaluation service. I will give you free feedback on one writing practice test and one speaking practice test. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So first of all, let's get started with your writing. So here's what you wrote. So you wrote approximately 263 words. So there's a few things I noticed here is in the introduction you say that the same would apply to teachers as well. The better they perform, the better they should be paid. So the question is, should teachers be paid according to how much their students perform? And then yes or no, and give examples and reasons to explain that idea. You need a thesis, a more specific thesis here. Then you say teachers are often surrounded by prejudices and mistreatment. So this topic sentence does not connect back to the writing prompt. It just states a fact. You're not making any argument here, and you don't really have any specific example within this paragraph to support your ideas, but you don't really have unity because the paragraph has no purpose. Now the next paragraph, I would say if teachers are placed on the pay scale according to their impact reputation, it would improve the education system more efficiently. Now this is a good thesis. So you're saying that paying teachers more will improve the education system. But you don't really have any specific example in here to illustrate that idea. And then the conclusion, it doesn't really tie together your main points, but your main points aren't clearly identified anyway. So what is your score here? Now, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to look at the document stats that Microsoft Word has about your writing. So you'll notice here, let's take a look at a couple of important things here. Your average number of words per sentence here, you can see is 18.6, and the average number of characters per word is 4.6. What does that mean? That means that the grade level for this writing is 9.6. So it's just barely high school. So you're not writing college level writing. So you're going to have to improve your vocabulary. You want to get the 4.6 number maybe closer to 5. I think that's a good goal. And the 18 average words per sentence, you want to get that number closer to 25 or 26. And instead of having a grade level of 9.6, you're going to move up to grade level 13 to 15. And this is more appropriate for college level writing. Why am I telling you this? Well, the TOEFL has a program called E-Rater. E-Rater is an artificial scoring intelligence program that ETS uses to grade the writing, and it's also going to look at similar statistics about your writing, and I feel that E-Rater will not like what you've written because of the lower vocabulary and the lower grammar and sentence structure level there. Okay, the next thing is, what is your score? Okay, let me go ahead. Let me go over to the rubrics here. Let's see what we have. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. You're between, I'm going to say between 2.5 and 3. Yeah, I'm thinking probably in the 2 area more than in the 3 area. Why am I saying that? So the 2 says limited development in response to the topic and task. Yes. Inadequate organization or connection of ideas. Exactly. You didn't have a thesis. You did not have a good, clearly marked topic sentence in that second paragraph. Inappropriate, insufficient exemplifications, explanations, or details. Unfortunately, yes, you have a major problem in that area. So 1, 2, 3. A noticeably inappropriate choice of words or word forms. Not too much of a problem there. Your grammar is not terrible. I mean, you do have some grammar errors in there, but I don't think that's the major issue an accumulation of errors in sentence structure and or usage. So because you have problems in 3 areas here, it says in the 2 area, 1 or more of the following weaknesses. You have 3 problems that identify you in the 2 areas. So I'm thinking you're kind of in the mid area here. I'm thinking your writing right now is maybe 17 to 18 points out of 30. That would be where you are right now. Okay? And in just a minute, I will give you some feedback on your speaking. But the main thing for now is, if you remember just a few simple things about writing, I think it will really help you a lot. Number 1, you want maybe about a 100-word introduction, but you need a much more sharply focused thesis than what you wrote. Number 2, each paragraph needs to have a clearly marked topic sentence and include one specific example that you can use that illustrates the argument you've put forth in that topic sentence. Number 3, keep each of those body paragraphs between 150 and 200 words. And finally, you want to make sure you have a conclusion that restates the points that you've already gone over in those body paragraphs and the points you forecasted in your thesis statement. If you make those changes, your writing's going to get higher. There's no doubt about it. Let's continue. I have the independent speaking rubrics in front of me. I'm getting ready to listen to your speaking practice test so I can give you some feedback on that. Okay, give me a quick second here. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to it.
I would say that there are both the choices would apply depending on the situation. For example, if you are studying well for the exam, it would be better to do it alone because.
Okay, so the question here is, and it isn't obvious in the beginning of your response, but the question is it better to study alone or study with a group when you're preparing for exams? Right? That's the actual topic that you're trying to figure out here. Okay, let me listen to the whole thing one time. I'm not going to make any comments at all. Then the second time, I will make some comments.
I would say that there are both the choices would apply depending on the situation. For example, if you are studying well for the exam, it would be better to do it alone because you would have more focus in that case and you could do reflections around the studies you are doing and make notes according to what you prefer and according to what your disposition says. Your studies would be completely focused on you, concentrating around you and be done only for you and by you. But when the exam time is near, it would be better to do it in a group because the chances of recall would be better and you can strengthen the connections you have already made, and recapping it to others will make you understand it better.
All right, well, the good news is your writing and speaking are kind of even. You're pretty balanced in your language abilities. You're not very high. That's the bad news. But if you're low in both areas, there's a greater chance that you can improve in both areas. What I really worry about is when there's a gap. Have somebody gets like 29 on the writing, but 18 on the speaking. If you have something like that, that's a very serious issue. And even there's a possibility of fossilization. But for you, your English, your speaking and writing skills are both quite low, right? So I think that you definitely have a great chance of improving your skills. Okay, let's take a look at the rubrics here. I think the same thing in the 2 area. You fit in that area in both the writing and the speaking. Why is that? Let's take a look at it. So 2, we have the speech is basically intelligible, though listener effort is needed because of unclear articulation. Yes, there's some words in there that I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding. You have awkward tone. You do. You're not really varying your tone like you need to. You have a choppy rhythm or pace. I'm going to say maybe on this one. Let me listen to it again in just a minute. The response demonstrates limited range of and control of grammar and vocabulary. I think that's a problem. It prevents you from what's called full expression of ideas. I think that's a problem. The response is made, it presented development of ideas is limited. You have the same problem, and once you fix this problem, your writing and speaking is going to go higher, but you're not very specific with examples. You don't get very personal. You talk about things in a very generic sense. You will have to change that to get higher. You have mostly basic ideas are expressed with limited elaboration. There's really no elaboration that you provide. So you maybe vaguely expressed or repetitious. So I think because of these problems here, I think that your writing here is maybe, I'm going to say between 2.0 and 2.5, so maybe between 15 and 17 points out of 30. That's what I'm seeing with the speaking practice test that I just listened to. All right, so let's get into it one more time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and listen. Let's start from the beginning.
I would say that there are both the choices would apply
I would say that there are, I'm not quite sure what you're saying there.
depending on the situation. For example, if you are studying well
You want to say maybe, I would say that both methods of study are important depending on the conditions or the test conditions.
for the exam, it would be better to do it alone because you would have more focus in that case and you
Because you would have more focus. You're saying that you can concentrate. But the thing is, once you move into that you point of view, you distance yourself from the speaking task and it becomes very generic and it becomes vague, as I was telling you a minute ago. If you use I, and you say, for example, last semester, about 4 weeks before my chemistry exam, I studied alone, which worked very well. I was able to concentrate very easily on what I was doing. For example, I prepared my study guide, and once I did my study guide, I took the most important points and I put those ideas onto note cards. I started to study those note cards. And because I was studying alone, I was able to concentrate on completing both the study guide and the note cards. Right? So you didn't give me any example there.
could do reflections around the studies you are doing and make notes according to what you prefer and according to what your disposition says. Your studies would be
You're just speaking in very general terms.
completely focused on you, concentrating around you, and uh, be done only for you and by you. But when the exam time is near, it would be better to do it in a group because the chances of recall would be better and you can strengthen.
So you say the chances of recall would be better. And I don't see exactly how that works in the group study, but with the example I gave, I can say when I got closer to my chemistry test, I decided to do group study. That way I could get clarification on any of the concepts I was having trouble understanding. You see what I'm saying? So that would be probably more appropriate, is you can get answers to the questions that you might
The
have.
connections you have already made and recapping it to others will make you understand it better.
All right. So I think that my initial impression is pretty much the best one. So as I said before, I'm thinking probably between 15 and 17 points on the speaking. So if you want to get better, right? So let's talk about maybe a few basic things here. Okay, let's start off with delivery. You asked me in the email, can you give me some specific things I can do to improve, right? So with delivery, I'm thinking maybe three things might be helpful for you at this point. Number one, you need to do a better job pronouncing the basic vowel and the consonant sounds of American English. That's number one. Number two, you can improve with your intonation by varying it more. For example, at the end of each thought group, and a thought group is about 4 to 5 stressed words, you want to have a pause. Your tone should go up slightly at the end of that thought group. Then when you get to the end of the sentence, your tone needs to fall. So it's a combination of the higher and the lower tones that are going to make you speak more naturally. Finally, I think you can improve in what's called thought groups and blending. And if you get better with your thought groups and blending, you will improve your speaking rate, which means you'll be able to speak faster. Closer to what I think is important is about 150 words per minute or more. That's a good speaking rate. You're not there yet. So those are things you can do with your delivery. Language use overall, you're very generic, you're very vague, and you're imprecise in a lot of the vocabulary and the grammar you're using. So you need to use a combination of both basic and advanced vocabulary and grammar. That way, you have more of a high degree of automaticity, which means that you don't pause as much. It's more natural to you, the grammar and the vocabulary you're using. It sounds like you're very proficient because you don't have to stop and think very much when you speak. So that'll help you with the automaticity. Topic development, the main thing is you need better structure. You need a topic statement in the beginning that explains maybe one or two reasons why you think group or individual study is better, and then you refer to those ideas as you move through your response. And the most important thing here is you need to make sure that you have specific details, really clear details that help to explain the ideas that you're trying to put forth. If you make changes in those three areas, you definitely will improve your speaking score. All right? And that's it. So those are things you can do. Now, if you like my feedback, I have some suggestions for you. As you probably know, this is the only way that I advertise my services. A lot of people, they have no idea who I am. They don't know that I do offer TOEFL private lessons. I do not offer them all the time, but I'm getting to the end of the fall semester here at California State University, San Bernardino. You see, I'm actually in one of my classrooms here. You see this? My students come in at 9 o'clock. But the main thing is go to the speaking and writing feedback service I offer at better TOEFL scores. It is not very expensive, I promise you, and you will continue to get my support and my feedback as you do your speaking and writing practice. Right? That's my first suggestion. My second suggestion is I really think you can benefit by having maybe 2 private lessons per week. I know they're expensive. It's an investment that you're going to have to make, but you have a lot of accent reduction issues, a lot of pronunciation issues that I can help you solve through accent reduction practice. That means that we meet maybe for 1 hour each week, and I will go over a lot of pronunciation problems and issues that you're having and help you to improve in those areas so you speak faster, you speak with a more varied tone, you do better with the linking within your thought groups or the blending within those thought groups. I can help you with all those things. Second, I recommend another private lesson each week that focuses on writing. And what you want to do is each meeting that we do a writing lesson, you want to complete an independent or integrated writing practice test. And then during the meeting, I'm going to go over it with you. I'm going to go over your introduction, your thesis, the topic sentences in your body paragraphs. I will look at the development in each paragraph, and I will offer corrections. And I will also offer grammatical corrections to help you subject-verb agreement, your sentence structures. I said your sentences are a little bit short. I'll show you how to combine your sentences more so you can improve your academic writing. Ultimately, you will be able to improve your TOEFL score there. So if you have more questions about any of my services and you're interested in these things, you can come by during my virtual Zoom office hours. We can talk face to face a little bit more. Okay, you will see in the email below my name, you will see what my office hours are for this semester. And you can click on the link. You can meet with me. We can talk. You don't have to make an appointment. Just come during my office hours that you see there. And remember that this is Los Angeles, California time. All right, and thank you for completing the speaking and the writing feedback. I hope that my feedback, or completing the speaking and writing practice test, and I hope that my feedback has helped you understand some of your weak points when it comes to your writing and speaking.